House Speaker Paul Ryan celebrated the moment when members voted for the bill yesterday.
The conference report is adopted without objection. The motion to reconsider is laid upon the table.
Speaker Paul Ryan joins us from Capitol Hill. Good morning, Mr. Speaker. I know this is something you've been working on for your entire career.
Yes, yeah, it is. Good morning, Merry Christmas. It is something we're very excited about this. We're going to give people a big tax cut before Christmas. And most importantly, this is going to help people get more jobs at better wages, and simplify the tax code. So we're very excited about this.
Well, I think people want to understand still what's in this tax code. And if you look at it, a majority of it does go essentially to corporations for a tax cut. Why are you convinced that they're going to use that to increase wages and hire more people?
Well, first of all, go to fairandsimple.gop if you want to actually see the details and specifics for yourself. But I would beg to differ. The average family of four in America earning the median income is going to get a $2,059 tax cut. And when more than half of Americans are telling us that they're living paycheck to paycheck, that's real relief. When you double the per-child tax credit, when you double the standard deduction, and you lower tax rates across the board for every income group, that's real relief for families, for individuals. So that's really helpful, and it's really something that I think is needed in these difficult economic times where people literally are living paycheck to paycheck. On the business side, when you tax your businesses at such higher rates than our foreign competitors are taxing theirs, we're losing in that global competition. More importantly, U.S. businesses are moving abroad and becoming foreign businesses because of our tax laws. So we're stepping in front of that. We're modernizing our tax system, and we're getting from what is really arguably the worst tax system in the world to one of the best tax systems in the world. And that's going to give us faster economic growth. It's going to bring dollars back into our economy from overseas. And that will give us better wages, more jobs. That's why we're doing this.
Mr. Speaker, I think polls show that most people view this bill as kind of, as you pointed out, as far more generous to corporations than it is to individual taxpayers. Are they wrong?
Yeah, they are. And I think what it is just you've had this big debate on TV where Republicans and Democrats are arguing with each other. Pundits and the media are saying this and that. When you actually break down the components of this bill, it polls extremely well. But more importantly, when it gets in place, when people see their paychecks getting bigger in February because withholding tables have adjusted to reflect their tax cut, when businesses are keeping more of what they earn, when they can write off their expensing investment in their businesses and hire more people, that's going to change its popularity, I am convinced. So I think there's just tons of confusion out there as to what this does or doesn't do. A lot of people think it's going to raise their taxes when every income tax group on average gets a tax cut. So the proof is in the pudding, and I think the results will speak for themselves.
You're right. It is confusing for a lot of people. Yesterday, Senator Schumer on the floor said, listen, this is a disgrace. We don't expect him to say, good job, Paul and company.
Right, yeah.
So we don't expect him to say that. They point out, though, in 2027, Mr. Speaker, that for the middle class, this actually isn't a break, that their taxes will actually go up. How do you address that?
Yeah, so first of all, what they're basically saying is we're cutting them. They're acknowledging that we're cutting taxes for the middle class. And then because there's a sunset in those tax cuts at the end of the decade, because of Senate rules, they'll go up. Now, we have no intention of allowing that to happen, but it's unfortunate because of these Senate rules that we had to comply with that has that sunset. But Congress has every intention of making sure that that does not happen. This has been done over and over again because of Senate rules, where we don't allow these artificial tax increases to ever occur. But I think to acknowledge that there's an increase down the road is to acknowledge that we're actually cutting people's taxes right now.
Many of your Republican colleagues who voted no on this bill voted no because this bill, because they represent
SALT states.
Yeah, because
right.
Because you can't. There's a cap on state and local tax deduction. What's your message to those people and their constituents?
Well, first of all, I would take a look at the fact that people in every state, but it's especially for the high tax states, you basically have $10,000 you can write off for property and income taxes to begin with. Number one. Number two, lower tax rates. We're doubling the standard deduction. So still, even in those states, the average taxpayer in these groups get a tax cut. Now, I'm sure there are people, especially very high income people, who will lose a lot of deductions because we're simplifying the code that won't see it that way. But the average taxpayer in all of these groups gets a big tax cut. And frankly, what you basically have is about 46 states paying higher taxes on their federal taxes. So, about 4 states can raise their taxes on their constituents. And so for many members of Congress who are not from those states, they don't see it as fair that their constituents pay higher federal taxes, which are soaked up by these high state taxes. And so this is sort of a fairness argument as well that you're seeing.
Can we talk about your future, Mr. Speaker? Big rumors earlier this week, which you denied, that you
that's
were
just D.C. speculation. Look, Gayle, I didn't mean to cut you off, Gayle, but you get
Yes,
this
you
kind
did.
of. Well, okay, look, I'll stop. Go ahead, please.
No,
I love and respect you too much to do that, so sorry. Go ahead.
I feel the same about you, but there were very credible rumors that you were stepping down. You, of course, stepped out and said, no, that's absolutely not true. But where does that come from? Did you say in passing to someone, I'm thinking about it?
No, I actually never did. That's what surprises me about this. That's why I thought it was a very irresponsible piece. To the idea that after passing tax reform, as if it's the only thing I care about, I'm just going to leave, get up and go, it's ridiculous. It's a thought that never entered my mind, let alone discussed it with anybody. So I really see this as sort of rank speculation among the D.C. Beltway press. Speculating these things. I think it was fairly irresponsible speculation. It's faulty speculation. I'm not going to get up and leave this Congress, our conference, and my responsibilities in the middle of this term. We've got so much more work to do. Gayle, you know I'm working on poverty next year. You know we're working on getting people from welfare to work, on criminal justice reform, on welfare reform, on all of these things. We've got a lot of work to do. We're excited about doing it, and we're banking a big win here. I want to get back to work and get more things done, not least of which is to get the military rebuilt. So there's a lot of work to do. That's why I'm not going anywhere soon.
All right, Mr. Speaker, did you ever think when you were a waiter at Tortilla Coast that you would someday be handing down the gavel on tax reform?
So hard that it fell over. You hit it so hard.
I probably feel the same way you did, Norah. Yeah. Did you ever think when you were a Cub reporter at Roll Call you'd be hosting this morning show?
I did not.
And doing 60 minutes.
I did not. I did not.
We'll see you in the new year.
See you in the new year.
All right, take care.
Speaker.
Merry Christmas.
Bye.